Because it says it's off. It says it's off air.
I just turned on. Oh, it should be recording
Okay.
now.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, there it goes.
Okay. So we just need to review the model, the theoretical model, and physical model that is based on behavior that the behavior takes time and stages to change. It doesn't change over time, and it has some stages which are pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation, action, and maintenance. And stage have some uh, underlying stages to change, and like self-reliance, self-liberation, counter conditioning, helping relationship reinforcement, emotional control, and social liberation. So, anyone wants to start? Uh, Anna, can you give us a little bit of information about the theoretical model?
I couldn't really hear what you said. It's like really echoey. I don't know if it's just my phone, but I couldn't understand you.
Like choppy. I don't really understand it either.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Maybe my microphone. So, we just need to review the agenda. We need to review the model first. A quick review, and I have well copy of the. Let me share my screen. Hold on a second. Mm, can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right now I can, yeah.
Okay. The time theory is basically that behavior take time to change, and it's in some stages that which are pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation, action, and maintenance, and all of those have underlying uh, stages. I would say to one to another, like from pre-contemplation to contemplation, we need to be aware of the problem, like consciousness raising or dramatic relief or environmental revolution. And then re-evaluation, move to the other stage, which is from contemplation to preparation, and then celebration from action to maintenance. Uh, Anyone have any questions regarding this model? No? Anyone wants to comment on anything? Okay. Well, we also need to discuss the processes and how they relate to the stages of the model. Uh, the first process is consciousness raising, which help move from pre-contemplation to contemplation stage. So anyone wants to mention some of the processes or how do they work?
Okay. So like kind of like so like for like the pre-contemplation to contemplation stage, like pre-contemplation just kind of like maybe like they haven't really thought about it very much. Like they've thought about it, but still like gonna be more than like 6 months or something, or longer till they honestly decide to really contemplate or think about what they're gonna do. And I think like in the little model that we have a link to for this relevance activity, it gives that the bridge that helps to move a person or the activities that might kind of push a person forward to contemplation is be like consciousness raising, meaning um, like if there's some issue that may be important to the person or is important in that situation, it kind of brings it to their realization, I guess, or like also dramatic relief or environmental reevaluation to kind of realize that I probably should work out more often or things like that. I guess kind of an example to where they actually start contemplating and thinking about it. They're gonna start making within like 6 months. They may start to do something to continue on to that preparation for stuff like that. I don't know. For the first little part, that's what I think. That's how
Yeah,
I understand it.
I like how they have the bridges on that picture because it kind of just shows how each one leads to another. Kind of like what you were saying, like those processes are like what leads you from one stage to the next. So I think that page, that link is really helpful, at least for me, to visualize um, like the different stages and what needs to happen between each stage to get to the next one. But I think it's kind of like a longer process, like how you were saying, can be 6 months, at least 6 months before you're planning on even contemplating um, making the changes. So, yeah.
Right. Anyone else wants to mention anything else? Raina or um,
Um, yeah, I was just gonna say one thing that like stood out to me. This one is that into the middle of the preparation, it's more like the pros of why you're gonna do it, like the change, and then from preparation on, it's to like maintenance. It's like someone's willing to make. So like the cons of it, but I just kind of like how it broke it up into those. You can tell, the first part they're evaluating all the pros of it, and then the second part is where they have to like really put it to work, and it's a little harder. So like the sacrifices they have to make to stage of maintenance.
okay. Thank you, Raina. I just have a hard time hearing you. There was wrong with the microphone or something. But uh, okay, so I like this model because I think they mentioned in the lecture that well, according to this model, e- each person can start on different stage. Every every individual is different. So, but most of them will not be aware of the problem. So that will be the pre-contemplation stage, like where they don't know that there is a problem, need to be aware of the problem. Then, when some education, the population can gain some knowledge that okay, there is a problem, and then they will do the contemplation stage where they intend to take action, and like someone said, within 6 months. But I don't know how come they come to the 6 months timeline because I don't know that can change. Then after that, the preparation stage, they move into action within 30 days and taking some steps in the right direction. But let's see. Do anyone have any questions regarding this model? No? Okay.
I'm good.
Well, what, Samuel?
Oh, I said I'm good.
Okay. Well, next thing we need to discuss part of our assignment is what kind of intervention center on the processes move people through the stages, like from pre-contemplation to contemplation, using some at least one of the processes that help us move from pre-contemplation to contemplation.
Probably the education intervention. I don't remember exactly what it's called, but or not the education. Sorry, the one basically where you're advertising. I can't remember. It's the first one on the list of our intervention worksheet, but I think that that one would be good because if there's like stuff around, like on social media or billboards or things like that, that people can see to maybe become aware of that there might be a problem. Like if they're not aware, then they're not going to have any idea that they need to change. Like if somebody, say for example, I mean most people know that smoking's bad, but say if somebody didn't know that, they're not going to know that it's bad unless they see something like a billboard or like an ad about the dangers of smoking.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's right. Like I think in the presentation was consciousness raising. Like we find learning new facts, ideas, or tips that support a healthy behavior change and increase awareness. We said flyers, pamphlets, that help raise awareness of this issue. And the other one was dramatic relief, like expressing feelings about one's problem, increase emotional experiences, psychodrama, role playing, testimonies, and grieving. Like for example, in the video game playing and education, maybe some testimonies of how spending time playing video games, getting, and we can use some individuals that can give their personal experience to help raise awareness of the other individuals, and that help us move to the other stage that which is and then which contemplation is that they can take action within the next 6 months. And from contemplation to preparation, what process can help us move to preparation?
Hmm.
In the PowerPoint presentation we have in the reading was self-reevaluation. Anyone, what is self-reevaluation?
I think from the reading, if I remember, self-reevaluation was like realizing like your behavior. I got what was it? Oh, it was realizing that your behavior is kind of part of your identity or something. So I don't know, like maybe like you have to recognize that things might be I don't know, part of like who you are or like part of your culture. And so you kind of have to focus on overcoming specific obstacles to you. If I'm remembering that right. I don't really remember though, but that's kind of how I thought of it. So I don't know.
Right here is realizing that the behavior change is an important part of one's identity as a person. And it combines both cognitive and affective assessments of one's self-image with and without a particular healthy habit. Clarifying values, having healthy role models, and using mental imagery are techniques that move people to evaluate themselves by clarifying values. Like it could be like for the video game playing, like some individuals value getting good grades and passing classes and towards a degree, and that can motivate an individual to move to the other stage, which is to take action. I don't know, was like that, but let's see. Um, from preparation, let's see, from preparation stage to take action, they mention self-liberation. Anyone wants to give an example of what self-liberation is?
From the notes that I wrote down, it just says like making a firm commitment to change. So I guess just like um, kind of like those things that they pass out like from middle school or high school. Like I am committed to not do drugs or to not smoke or whatever. Something I think something like that.
Yeah, I think that's some of the things they mention, like they are making a full commitment to change, uh, and after they are committed to change, they take action, which is uh, here we had change over behavior for less than 6 months, and move from action to maintenance. They mention reinforcement, management, and helping relationship. Uh, Anyone give us some examples of what reinforcement, management, and helping relationships are?
I mean, I think the healthy relation or helping relationships one's kind of obvious. Like, yeah, like surrounding yourself with good people that can support you in your choice to have a better behavior. So like, I don't know, having people that are, if your goal is to overcome an addiction like drinking alcohol, surround yourself with people that are supportive of that. I think is the goal with helping relationships, stuff like that. I don't know.
No, yeah, I think social support, like if the individual is around of people that is doing their unhealthy behavior, changing that social environment to one that getting the support they need, they will be able to change and move to other to the other stage, which is maintenance. I see they care, happiness, and acceptance, as well as support for a healthy change. And then for maintenance, from action to maintenance, they mentioned counter. Anyone wants to mention conditioning is?
I think like for like I don't know, from how I understood counter conditioning, it's like something that you do to like maybe help prevent yourself from changing that positive action to like reinforcing your behavior to maintain that action. So doing something to be able to like yeah so just yeah doing something so that you wouldn't kind of like relapse, I guess, in a sense you could say. So
Substituting a uh, healthier alternative behaviors like for video game playing, it could be doing something else like exercising or some other kind of games that are
yeah,
not the video game playing.
I think for like oh I was gonna say that for like the intervention, like one of the interventions we had from week 3 was the social activities intervention thing. And I think in some ways for like if in like a kid who's playing video games and stuff, it might be like really helpful in some ways to have like social support or like maybe like a weekly friend group thing or something like that. That could be helpful. And in some ways it could also be like helping relationships and also like social liberation, like where self-liberation is kind of like where you have that determination, but with the social liberation, I don't, in my mind I would think that it's not just you have that who has that determination to maintain it, but also those other people who you're with, just kind of realizing that you need to maintain those things. I guess if they like I know like the scenario talks about the these young men are playing 16 to 20 hours of video games a week, of violent video games, and so kind of like I don't know, being involved in a group that you're all trying to work towards that same thing for like a social activity intervention. I think that would be something that would be a good intervention to use. I think, but that,
Yeah,
I think I agree.
I agree too. Like in here, they give some examples like relaxation, assertion, desensitization, behavior replacement, positive self-esteem are strategies to finding safer substitutes. So then moving um, from action to games. Okay. Then termination of the behavior will imply total confidence that relapse will not occur in any high-risk situation and there is not a temptation to return to unhealthy behavior. Um, let's see. Any questions? Comments? No. Let's see. Part of the agenda, we need to discuss two scenarios. First one was the one I was talking about, the playing violent video games. I'm just gonna read the S scenario, and the other one was the good mate or spouse struggling with depression. Just to apply this model into two kind of scenarios, and also I think these two scenarios are in the learning activity that we need to bring. And let's see, which ones do you want to see first, the video game or the depressive symptoms? Either one.
Okay, either one.
Okay, the video game playing. You are a health educator on the BYU campus working with groups of young men who are spending in excess 16 to 20 minutes per week playing video games. These young men are struggling academically at school. You can initially interview with these young men. They have problems and they are happy with the amount of time they spend gaming. Okay, so how are we going to apply this model? First, the pre-contemplation state.
okay.
So we're just kind of thinking about the interventions that go through or
Yeah.
that go through the stages. Is that right?
Yes.
So I think that, I mean, kind of going back to what I was saying before, like with these young men, they may not know that there is a problem, that's a lot of video games, and they might not know that maybe that's, I mean, I don't know if this is either, but if maybe that's the reason why they are struggling at school. But anyways, they're not going to know that unless they're educated or like see things that talk about maybe the um I don't know the word I'm thinking of, that talk about like the harms, I guess, of too much violent video games. And so maybe interventions like on social media or things like that that show the harms of it.
Yeah. I think like yeah, and for like the specific intervention, I think we mentioned it earlier, but just the specific intervention, I think it'd be good is that health communication strategy kind of where you could use like Facebook or something like we have used mass media, bring awareness to the guys playing those video games and stuff. So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
and that would kind of touch on yeah, kind of touch on that consciousness raising or kind of like environmental reevaluation, kind of having them realize that there could be an issue with them playing so much.
yeah, so because they mentioned they are not aware that there's a problem, but maybe they are assuming that video game playing is the problem, but we sure, but because 20 minutes playing video game, that how does that relate to education? We don't know, but problem, like if they can know, uh, like you mentioned that raising awareness, social media, and pamphlets that they will know that information that spend so much time playing video games will affect their grades. So they can move to the other stage of contemplation, which they they intend to take action within the next 6 months. And how we help this population move from contemplation to preparation.
I think like I don't know where people where they're let's say we got them to the contemplation stage like you're saying, and we were trying to move into preparation. I think so. The only word there is just self reevaluation. I think in some ways maybe they I don't know if because of health communication strategies like using mass media and like maybe they see an ad on Facebook and it I mean they already realize now that it's not really a healthy thing to do. Maybe it could even still maybe that could even still bring like them to think about reevaluating what they would like to do in their lives or even like a health education strategy. Maybe they see the ad and it's like a free class or a seminar about video gaming and the effects of prolonged use of video gaming and maybe they see that and they attend it or something like that. So I
Yeah,
think
like yeah, I think you mentioned it like combining the positive and negative effects of the video game playing, so they will be more aware of the benefits and the negatives of that behavior. The other stage, which is preparation, and how we move from preparation to action.
Hmm.
And I think Taylor mentioned that social liberation or self liberation. Uh, when it says seeing what they are missing and realize they social.
Raina had a good comment here in the chat about that. She said, seeing what they're missing out on can make them realize they need to get out more, so more social activities. I think that would be pretty helpful, getting them to act, kind of getting them away from video games, maybe having more social interactions outside with people, making different connections like that kind of thing would probably be super helpful.
And they will that will make them make commitment to change, like being more socially active with other individuals. They will help them move to some action to maintenance. They, they will need some reinforcement management, like increasing the rewards, the positive behavior. How can we apply that to video game playing? I mentioned also helping relationships, social support, being open and trust others. Maybe uh, they will set up appointments with academic advisors that can give them that some of that support by being open and trusted with others. An academic advisor, like I think they have them at the schools, universities, and everywhere, so they can be available to them and they can provide that support. Like you mentioned here, combine caring, trust, openness, and acceptance, as well as support of health behavior change. When we meet with an academic advisor, we can get that support or gain that trust that what we are doing help us get better grades. So, uh, and then bridging people from action to maintenance. They mentioned counter conditioning. What we can do applying this on this scenario.
Um, I would just think I was looking at it for like counter conditioning that one. You see, I was thinking about the intervention for like environmental change strategies because it talks about how they may like weigh the financial costs, the accessibility to their own education because like at the moment, it's hindering their grades and things like that, and then also like having a good social support and support for healthy environments is a couple of those things that comes from environmental change strategies. And so in some ways that could help in counter conditioning because then they realize it's not just good to slow down, stop playing video games, but I can also save money and then also spend more time doing my homework and then I can find doing more social things now. I have more friends I can do other things with, and that isn't video gaming, things like that. I don't know.
Yeah, and also they mentioned here substituting healthy alternative behaviors. What could be a healthy alternative for video game playing? Like I think we mentioned it earlier, exercising or relaxation or social activities, other activities. Mm,
Yeah, I think for like counter conditioning, like they can for like a substitution, they can like go outside and like go for a walk or go hang out with a friend. Or like other things is like going to the gym or just doing other things that they find are like fun and enjoyable for them.
yeah, yeah, because they mentioned in here stimulus control and we need to remove cues from healthy habits by removing the video game from view, so it will help us control that behavior if we keep it in storage in some place, changing the environment. Uh, helps groups can provide skills that support change, social liberation, and I think the last one is termination of the behavior. Uh, that implies total confidence that relapse will not occur in any high risk situation, and there is no temptation to return to unhappiness. So after we have done all this, we can make sure that the daily change has. Uh, I think as part of the agenda, I think that was the last thing we need to cover. Anyone have any comments or any questions regarding this model or any
Nope.
of the questions? Okay, because I think the other thing we need to do, I think we need to do it on our own, is the model application assignment where we need one of these two scenarios that violent, violent video game playing and the depressive symptoms. And we kind of apply an intervention and the explanation of the intervention, then answer some questions and what are some of the limitations of this model. Anyone have noticed that this model have some limitations? What could be some of the limitations?
I didn't really understand the limitations that much from the reading this week, but I did see them in the reading. It said that it didn't apply well to children and adolescents. And so I don't really get that. I don't see how it wouldn't apply, but that's, according to the reading, was one of the limitations. And then another thing it said in the reading was almost all young people who have not yet used substances like tobacco, alcohol, or other drugs are in a pre-contemplation stage for such use. So basically, it just assumes that everybody is at risk for a given behavior without actually being at risk for a given behavior, I guess. So I don't know. I thought that was kind of interesting, but
Yeah, I think that in the readings was really explicit on what of the limitations are, but I think they mentioned a couple things like they mentioned that the behavior is more complex than uh, single behavior. Like you said, like this smoking and that individuals will be a number in a different stages of change depending on the type of activity. And mm, and yeah, I don't know, but we need to review. They asked about some of the limitations of the application activities. They will come in later. Uh, we also need to decide which member is going to be our group for next week. Any volunteers?
I I can do it next week.
Who said that? Raina?
That was Casey.
Oh, Casey. All right. Okay. So Casey be could be the next week. And I have a problem for next week. I won't be available on Thursday because the inauguration thing I have to attend. But anyone have any other options? Can we do it in another day or later that day?
Um, I could. Would you guys be able to do it on like Wednesday? I can't later that evening because I have another meeting.
I I can do it on Wednesday. That's not a problem. I just need to make sure everybody is on the same page.
I think I can do it Wednesday. It depends what time though. But if it's around this time, like 6:30ish, I could probably do it.
I can do Wednesday as well.
I probably could do Wednesday again, like around this time. I think.
Yeah.
At 6:30.
So does that work for everybody? Taylor, did Taylor say? I can't read any chats on.
Yeah, she said it works well, but her son will be there with her, so that's cool.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay, so everybody is available on Wednesday at 6:30 then?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Good to go.
Hmm?
All right, cool. Well, see you guys.
See ya.
All right, thank you. See you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.